Welcome to the new episode of Hashtag with Abhyangh. On today's episode, we are going to meet someone who's very close to my passion, which is dancing. Someone who revolutionized contemporary dancing in India like nobody else has. Someone who is a master judge on a number of dance reality shows that we see on television. The very good looking, the very stylish, and a dear friend, Terence Lewis. Welcome, Terence. Welcome to Hashtag with Abhyangh. It feels fantastic to have you on the show. First and foremost, how does it feel being this dance legend of our country? Before I go ahead into
Wow, that's a big title you've given me, Abhyangh.
Yes.
I don't know whether I'm capable of living to that, that title. All I know is that I love to dance. I love to teach dance, and I love to perform. And I've always been an artist in my heart and in my soul and my emotions. So I don't know, people like my work, and that's great, and that is a reward in itself. And I'm really happy for the fact that people have really appreciated what I do. It's different. It's not what everybody else does. So I guess that's why it got noticed also very fast. But I'm very grateful, and I'm still discovering myself as a dancer, as a teacher, and as a performer, as an actor. So I really can't say I'm a legend. I think when I die, you can call me that. Don't make me dead so soon.
That's exactly what my question is. That did you always think that you wanted to become a dance choreographer? Was it like always the plan?
To be very frank, I've quit being a choreographer completely.
Yes, but
5 years ago.
Into dancing.
But as a career,
or
as a dance,
matter.
I didn't think there was much to think about that time, because that time I just did it for fun, and I really enjoyed what I did. It was only when I was in college that I started, teaching professionally. And I had never learned professionally, but I got job offers to teach because they thought I was very good, because I used to win dance competitions. But that was more organic, and at those days in the 80s, there was no dance school,
True.
So we used to just learn by the by, look at the videotapes, rewind forward, Michael Jackson के tapes खिस कर हम लोग ने मतलब बुरा हाल कर दिया video recorder का. And it was that process of watching, imitating, and learning. We were just trying to kind of find all resources possible to us, whether it's Bollywood films, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's pop culture from America. And I think that's pretty much shaped what we learned about dance. And then slowly, I took part in competitions, and I loved to be on stage. I was an actor, more than being a dancer. I loved acting. I loved theatre and plays. And then eventually theatre and plays also had dance, so I started dancing. And it's only in college that I realized that dancing was more lucrative, and I started also had to pay for my fees, so I started teaching dance. And when I started teaching dance, and I realized, but what do I teach? I've not even learned dance. So what has happened organically, I had to process scientifically and figure out how does it happen, so that the other person can learn, because I wanted to make it as simple and easy. So I had to deconstruct dance for myself, what I had known organically, what I was intuitively, a gut feeling jo hoti hai, you just are driven towards it and you do it just because you know you can do it. That happens for some kids, but not for every kid. And every kid who wants to learn wants to be broken down. So I broke down dance. I understood dance much better. What was happening organically, I discovered it became a scientific inquiry. And that really made me a fine dancer in itself also.
Wow.
And it supported my fees, took care of my dates, it took care of all my, shopping, what I needed for my, college days. I came from a very simple, poor family, and we have 8 brothers and sisters. So, after my school, my father said, you're on your own, do whatever you want. It was a very tough choice, answering your question about taking dance as a career, because
exactly, that's exactly why
I come from an Orthodox Christian family, and in my family everybody is very well educated, and my father thought that I was the brightest, and I was the brightest kid, academically brilliant, and that was a curse in a way, because if you're academically brilliant as a boy, you definitely cannot take arts, you cannot take dance. So my natural progression was science. Maybe I become a doctor, and then in doctor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was very clear somewhere in the 12th that I was working for my PCB results, and I was very clear that if I get into medicine, I'm going to get into forensic sciences, because I love to solve crimes. I love to solve mysteries, and I would go into reconstructive surgery, which means I would help people get if they were damaged or their faces were damaged, or get a face back, and
that's right.
Somehow that felt very powerful to give them back what they had lost. So these were my plans, but PCB came and I got like 88, and I missed around 8 marks I missed to get into the in the list. and I was very disheartened, and in a way it was good because otherwise I would have gone into medicine, and I started doing microbiome.
Dr. Terence.
Yeah, I would
Would
have
have
Dr.
been
Terence. And then I did biochemistry from St. Xavier's College, and then I realized that I was not really enjoying and doing what I wanted to do, and my heart slowly started growing towards dance more and more, towards theatre, towards acting, towards singing. All of these things I did all of my college life, and I realized that I was just being stifled with education. And to run away from that, I went in to do hotel management. It was a very stupid mistake. I was like, I had needed an excuse to get out of biochemistry. So in my third year, my final year, I said, okay, I gave my exam for entrance exam for hotel management, and I cleared the hotel management exams. And I said, okay, let's try this. It must be easier, it's an easier option. Maybe I can do many other things in my life. So I did my hotel management for 3 years. Then my father said, oh, it's a diploma. At that time now it's a degree.
Right.
But then it was a diploma. So I did my graduation from the university, distance education, psychosocial major. So don't ask me, I've studied too much in my life to be a dancer. And yeah, now I'm a double graduate and I have a double major degree because both my diploma also turned into a degree. But as of now, it's really of very little consequence. It took me a while to figure and say, okay, dance is going to be my career, because when I reached 23, I had 2 job offers, one for my hotel industry, one for the aviation industry as a flight attendant, because I wanted to see the world, travel, and make quick money. And I got into the airlines, very easily in the interviews. And I had a hotel industry background, so it was very easy for me to get there. And I had these 3 job offers in my lap, and I was sitting there, and there were my friends who were still struggling to get campus interview selections, and I already gotten through, and I looked at myself and I said, yeah, but somehow I feel I would like to work for myself, and more importantly, I really feel that I really don't want to work. Now here's a twist. When I say I don't want to work, I don't mean to say I don't want to work. I just don't want to make it look like how people say work is work. For me, I want to do something that I love, and if that means it's work, then so be it. But I don't want to think of my work as something that I don't love.
Exactly.
And I asked myself, do I love hotel management, and do I want to kind of be in the hotel industry? I was like, yeah, I can. See, I'm very scholastically inclined and I'm very ambitious. So whenever I say I'm going to do something, I am going to put my heart and my energy and my intellect to figure out what is the best way to do this. And it has to be of a certain standard and caliber. I have very high standards for everything. So I would be successful in the industry. And I told and that was my biggest fear, that if I get into this, I will not step back. I will then become the best in the hotel industry. And I was like, but would I be happy? Like, I would get the money, I would get the fame, whatever it is, but would I be happy doing what I want to do? And I kept asking myself, and I said, okay, maybe the aviation industry, And then I said, yeah, but how much will I fly, and what growth will I have? And do I really, is this only about the money and travel? Can I do that by doing some other career and, be able to fly by myself and, spend for my own vacation and things like that? And I said, no. And I said, dance was offering me only a few thousand rupees. I said, but if I really work hard and put my mind into it and really become good at what I do, I am sure it will do well for me. And I just told myself, okay, there is no choice. I'm doing dance. And when I made that decision, it was very tough because my parents were against it. They were like, you studied so much, you came first. What is the point? Academically, you were brilliant. Why did you study so much? You have a gift. I said, Mom, Dad, my brothers and sisters were all very, very, studious. And they were also very good. And they said, you're making a very big mistake, So Abhyangh, I was very nervous.
Oh my God.
At that point of time. I was really nervous because I was making a very big decision. Plus, I myself had a little bit issue with the fact that as a dancer, I wouldn't get that much of respect. Because I was always told by my parents and my siblings that, you're a dancer. Nothing great. But I realized that even though I was a dancer, I was earning more than my brothers and sisters. Simply because dance education, going house to house, people paid you a lot of money going for dance classes, teaching dance to them in their houses. And I realized it's lucrative, it's giving me a lot of, independence. Financially, I'm independent. But how do I swing this to respect? So you think how you'll be financially independent, I really know, but what's the respect? What's the future? what happens if you get injured and this and that.
Oh,
All of that.
okay.
So they were like cutting me down like crazy. And they were being very practical. They were not being mean. They loved me.
Right.
They just wanted my best interest, and I was the youngest. So it was a very tough decision, and I just said, no, I'm going to make this work. And when I made that decision, then they said, okay, fine. Because they know once I make my decision, it's very hard for anybody to convince me to do something else. So once I made my decision, once I'm clear, I go for it. And then when I go for it, I go fully into it. So the day I made that decision, and my parents told me it's going to be very tough. You made a very tough decision. How are you going to manage? I said, I will. And it took me a long time. And when people tell me, how come, was it easy? I said, well, I don't know whether it was easy or tough. I just didn't care enough about what I got. I was just happy doing what I did. And little by little, it became bigger and bigger and bigger. So it took me 20 years to become an overnight success. Yeah, it's a paradox, it's an irony, but that's the truth. There are no shortcuts.
True.
What is important is that I never imagined that I would become a choreographer. And I didn't. Actually, even today, I'm not a choreographer. I don't want to be, although I can choreograph very well, and it comes naturally to me, but I want to be the artist. I want to be the performer. Because when I fell in love with dance, I fell in love with the fact that I could be on stage and make people watch me and have the power to make them feel what I was feeling. Me being behind the camera or behind was never in my head. Choreography fell into my lap. Lagan happened to me simply because my first film, Lagan, happened to me accidentally. I was training Reena Datta Khan, who was the producer of Amir Khan's productions, and she asked me, listen, we don't have a song for you, but there's a situation where there's a Viennese waltz that needs to be taught, and will you do it? I said, I don't even know waltz. She said, but you're Catholic. I said, yeah, that does not mean that I know the jive and everything else. I know how to dance other things, but not this. Just learn it and come. We just need, because nobody in the industry can do it. You learn and come and teach.
Oh my God, wow.
And that's how Reena really pushed me, so I'm really grateful to her for that. And that's how my journey began, and I sat with Ashutosh and I told Anil Mehta, who was a cameraman, I have no clue about camera. I know about dance, but I don't. So I learned the dance, I showed them, and then they taught me camera. They taught me how a choreographer sees a film. And I quite liked it, but I somehow always felt I would rather be in front of the camera and perform, be the actor, be the dancer, be the artist. And somehow, naturally, when you have to kind of put bread on the table, you have to kind of, look out for yourself. The natural progression is you have to become a choreographer. Because I didn't have anybody, I had trained myself. By the age of 26, I'd gone to America, I had trained, I'd come back. I didn't find anybody who would take my training and, be able to kind of give me work based on my training.
Oh my God.
So it was very difficult. So I was in a very, very tight situation. So I said, okay, let me make my own company. So I made my own company, I tried teaching dance, I started training people. And it was not a choice. I didn't want to be a leader. I didn't want to be a choreographer. But there was no choice. I didn't have anybody who would say, okay, you're a great dancer. I'd love to choreograph for you. And you just dance. I didn't have that luxury. I was not born the right time. I mean, in that time. I think everything is perfect now. I mean, it's okay. But having said that, I would still say that I would love to teach and I would love to perform.
Wow.
Choreography comes very naturally to me. It's instinctive. I know exactly what is good and what's wrong. And even as a dancer, when somebody's choreographing for me, I say, okay, you know what, I think I should do this and I should do this. And they say, yeah, it kind of works, in fact. So I have a natural flair for it, but I would rather not go into that and rather be the artist.
Be the artist.
Be the artist.
In fact, that's what I would love to, underline, because we've recently seen you perform at a dance reality show, and my goodness, what was that performance? I was just talking to you a while back that it was magnanimous. I haven't seen that song being choreographed like that and you dancing on it like that. How difficult was it to make it happen?
The last song that I did like this was Teri Diwani, which was so popular, and I didn't know that time that it was going to be so popular, and contemporary dance had just come out, and it was being peddled to the masses through the television. And I remember that Teri Diwani was such a huge hit. And after that, there was never an opportunity, because what happened was, because I'm the only dancer and choreographer who allows other choreographers to choreograph for me. Bebevi has choreographed on me. Lonji has choreographed on me. Geeta has choreographed on me. So I have had a lot of choreographers choreographing on me, and they enjoy choreographing on me. So and I have no problems, being a choreographer myself, working with them, on the same in their same profession. So this was a chance where they came in, and the production came to me, BBC came to me and said, "Listen, can you do a performance for us in the middle of the season of the show?" And I was like, "Okay, why not?" And we'd like to kind of let audiences and the contestants know that
How
what
do
you were
do that?
about.
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah, that's all great. But when I went to the studio, I realized my body was not responding. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of fitness training. So I just wanted to build up my stamina. I wanted to build up my core. I wanted to kind of have a physique which was like defying the laws of of the biological age that I was crossing. And I remember that I started dancing and moving, and I felt like, I really am not completely being able to do it. So it took me a while to really open up my body and really let go. And yeah, then I choreographed it and I set it, and I told my dancers, let's do this piece. And this song I've been waiting to do for a long time. Ever since it came out, it has been one of my favorite songs. This and Lal Ishq. These are two beautifully rendered songs, and the way they have sung, the composition, the lyrics, it just is mind-blowing. So they asked me a very simple question: what is the biggest hindrance in all my relationships? Because I'm single and all that. I said the biggest hindrance, I've had 3 relationships, 3 women in my life, and they've been very beautiful women in my life, and one especially has been very strongly, been a very strong supporter of what I do, and I really have grown with her a lot, and I really have due respect for that, but it didn't work out. What I do want to say is that in all my relationships, I think the reason why nothing works is because my first love has been dance.
Dancing.
And I think somehow I give it so much value and so much focus, and it's become my work, my passion, everything. I get so much joy with it that everything else I forget. I forget I have to eat. I forget I have to go home.
My God.
I forget now it's night time. Let's stop rehearsals. I forget. I said, oh, we have to go home. Okay, go. Because once I start work, I have no concept about when to stop.
Stop.
Till it's perfect. Till it's perfect.
Exactly.
So I can be quite, drawn into something that I do, and that's how I'm very intense. And then what happens is that I am like this, and then I forget everything else, and then when I'm with them, and then they feel really amazing. But then after that, I go back to something else, which is my work, and then there's a huge drop in the...
I have seen this side of yours very, very nicely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's like I'm very into my work, and I'm very into my, what I love, and I love what I do. So I think that's how I showed it in my dance.
Wow.
That
it was beautiful.
Avari is all about me falling in love with dance.
Yes.
And also it talks about the fact that somewhere in between, dance became, the day the dance became only a means of existence, it kind of, I got somewhere robbed of my joy of dance. Because what happened was, we all tend to kind of make our passion our business. And I realized that I cannot make my passion my business. I mean, it can become a business, but I cannot get into that mode where I start thinking, okay, kitna paisa banao iska. For me, my dance is my craft, my art, my creativity, and my passion. And I want to, through dance, through acting, through performance, make people feel, believe, and see things differently. And somewhere I diluted the essence of what dance is for me. And that is what happens, main bazari ho gayi, main avari ho gayi. And that is the kind of connotation where I sold my soul.
Yes.
And it took me a while to find myself in dance and come back to what dance really means to me. So that's the whole song of Avari.
It looked beautiful.